All right, everybody. My name is Connor W. Schuchardt, and this is the Connor W. Schuchardt Show. It's a little bit of a different format today. We have my great grandmother on, Miss Mary Kathleen Widman. How old are you?
93.
93. We're discussing what the differences are between when she was a child and now, and what politics are like, and religion, and all that stuff. And I'm pretty excited about it.
I am too. I hope I can give you the right answers.
Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. This is the first part. So what do you think is the main difference between my generation and yours?
Oh, there's a big difference between it. Because as a child, we were more quiet, not as outspoken as kids are today, that we were taught to be stand back and let the grown-ups speak. And today it seems like kids are so much more forward than they were when I grew up. And but I mean, that was a different generation completely. And what were we, the silent generation?
Yeah.
So we were good listeners more than we were talkers. And naturally, I went to a Catholic school, and you respected the nuns, and you respected your teachers, and you respected your grown-ups. That was one thing we were always taught. I don't know if they do that today in schools. It's probably a lot different. I don't know at my age. I don't have any kids in school. I don't know what goes on, but I'm sure it's not like it was when I was young. And I guess it's just a big difference. I enjoyed my generation. We could play in the backyard, walk to school in ice and snow, and we weren't afraid to stay at night outside at night. And my friends came over, and we would listen to the radio, Sinner Sanctum at night.
All
We
right.
didn't have television, so we used our imagination. And with our parents, it was different. We sat and listened to the radio together. And today it's different. We have television. I didn't have television. So there's a big difference. I loved my generation. The years from, I'd say 40s, 30s and 40s when I grew up. It was a great generation, even though the Depression was over and the Second World War. And as kids, when we went to the show, we had to bring a pot or a pan or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we got in the movies, because they were making bombs for the Second World War. And there was a lot of things rationed as children.
Mm-hmm.
We only could have 2 pairs of shoes. You had your shoes soled. They took them to the shoemaker and put new soles on besides buying new shoes. You didn't have 10 pair like you have today.
Yeah.
And I don't even think there's a shoemaker anymore at all.
I'm not too sure. They're all the shoes are made in China.
Yeah, and it was a different generation, and I loved my generation.
What was it like not having TV? I mean, I could never comprehend what that was like.
That's what I mean. We stayed outside and played till dark, and sometimes later sat outside and talked, came inside. The kids would come in at night, my friends, and we'd listen to the radio. There was a program called Inner Sanctum, the squeaky door, spooky story, and we'd come inside and listen to the radio, play games. I don't know, we occupied ourselves with maybe drawing or coloring as a child, but we didn't have television to look at. And so we occupied ourselves with...
You think television and all that's been a more of a
take away from family life. It's talking to each other, and like I can remember my mom and my dad and my brother and I sitting listening to the radio and using your imagination, and we would laugh at it. I mean, it would be Red Skelton and the Mean Little Boy or something like that was on. It was funny, and we just enjoyed it. I'm sure kids enjoy television, but it's just not, the conversation's not there like it used to be.
So I bet you think phones are also...
Oh, I think of technology is okay. I don't particularly like all of it. I do like the phones. I think the phone is necessary for emergencies. That's the most important. but I can't get used at my age to all the technology.
Right.
But
Right.
you have to sort of go along with it.
Yeah, it's true. What are some things that you see now in the world that you really didn't see when you were younger?
What would be I see it? I like that's a kind of tough one. And now at my age, I don't remember when I was young. What was that I? Let's see.
We can go to another question if you
Yeah, go
want.
to another one. I don't know exactly what I like.
What was growing up right after you grew up right after the Great Depression ended? You
Yeah,
were
I was a little bitty baby child. I didn't know the Depression as well as the First World War.
all right. So like, what was it
I
like
mean,
growing up?
Second World War. I'm sorry.
What was it like growing up right after the Second World War ended?
Well, like I said before, it was um, growing up and knowing, oh, how would I say it? Oh, our parents had brothers in the service or relatives
Right.
in the service, and in those days, my cousin lived with me because her husband was over in England. He's a pilot, and they lived with us. And I had relatives live with us in those days. They don't do that much today.
Yeah.
And my mother came from a big family, so when I grew up, those days I had an aunt live with me, and uncle lived with us when we were young, and during the war, it's kind of hard to remember. I told you about the going to the show
Mm-hmm.
and things rationed, not only shoes, but food and tires and everything was rationed. You had food stamps during the war, and you could only buy so much of this and so much of that. And that's the big difference in the world today. It's just completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah. So what was like growing up in the you grew up in the 40s and the 30s, right?
Well, 30s I was a little girl.
So 40s and
40s was
50s.
my teenage.
What was the atmosphere? Like, do you get like a totally different feel by the like? Do you get when you wake up in the morning? Do you feel totally different than the time was then?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You
Okay.
get up in the morning and turn the TV on now. Used to get up in the morning, turn the radio on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that, everybody listened to the radio in those days.
Right.
But I think we got television in the late 40s or around 40, I don't know, was it 47, 40, some 46, first television. It was around that time.
Do you remember your family buying the first television that they
Yeah,
had?
I remember.
What was that? What was that like?
Black and white. It was kind
Yeah.
of fun. It was fun.
It was different.
It was different. We enjoyed it. We used to sit, but
Do you are there some things that we need to bring back from your childhood to today's
today,
world, you think?
yes, I think
What are some of those
that's,
things?
well, what I hear about schools, there should be more respect for teachers, more respect for parents, more respect. Um, I think that's one thing that should be brought back, more respect for teachers, and they put all their time into teaching you, learning you, and you should you respect them.
Right.
I think that should be different today.
Right.
I don't think they do that like they used to.
Right. Yeah, I agree. My yeah, I never obviously I didn't grow up in your time. I mean I wouldn't know what it would be like to grow up in your time. Always wanted to know. I would always want to find out what that was like
It was great.
to grow up in your time.
It was great because you did more.
Everyone was grateful for everything.
We were
You didn't-
outside all the time.
Right.
Kids were outside playing. We played ball or jump rope. I don't know if they do all that stuff anymore. Kids,
Video
we'd
games.
play hide and seek and run, all kinds of stuff like that outside. And during I don't think kids do that anymore.
It's video games.
Yeah.
Video games.
I think
now,
those video games are not too good.
You don't. Oh, you're not a avid video game player.
No.
So what when the first video games were coming out, like with Nintendo, like the old Nintendo games back in the 80s,
I never
with
did
my
that.
dad and my uncle, watching them play? Like, did you not like them then either? Or?
No, I never did get used to them. No, I was never an added game player. I mean, play solitaire cards.
Right.
Grew up. My whole family grew up playing cards. We
Right.
did that more than video games. We didn't. I didn't get into that at all.
Right. Since we have stuff now like NyQuil, Benadryl, Tylenol, stuff like this. You didn't have this type of stuff when you were growing up.
No, I think they had aspirin probably.
But like
And when you had fell down, had a sore, you had mercurochrome to put on. It was a red mercurochrome we used a lot. I don't think they have that anymore. And
like what
Vicks. We used
Vicks.
if we were sick. It was Vicks on your chest if you had a cold.
Yeah.
If you didn't take a Tylenol or anything. It was a baby aspirin or Vicks or something like that. That's what we used. And mercurochrome if you scratched your knees or something.
Yeah.
That's what we used. I don't think they even have that anymore.
I don't think they do.
Mercurochrome, it was called. It was red.
Right. All right. So now we're going to move on to religion. Okay, you're an avid Catholic, hardcore Catholic, as I say, and I mean you've been to Medjugorje.
Yes.
With your husband Bobo, as we called him. What was that experience like being there?
It was one of the best experiences I had in my life.
Wow.
It's climbing the hills at night with flashlights were at the top of the hill where the Blessed Mother appeared to this visionary while we were there. And there was young boys playing guitars. They were from Italy. At one time, they were dope addicts and on drugs, but they came to Medjugorje, and now they made all these wooden stations of the cross. They made all these wooden things, these things that you could buy, and they turned out just great. But it was an experience that's hard to explain, and I think everybody should go there. And people still go there. And Bobo enjoyed it, and even at his age, he could go up those hills. It was all rocky. It was hard to go up those hills with flashlights at night.
Yeah.
And we sat and lived with the people in their homes. They cooked for us. And
so, just adding, I do have an extension on this show, the Food Guys. What was the food like in Medjugorje?
Oh, it was homegrown. We had bread baked in the morning, big brown loaves of homemade bread, and then sausage with it sometimes. And they grew everything. Dinner, if we had, with the tomatoes were homegrown, vegetables were homegrown, a lot of homegrown food, a lot of grapes. They made their own wine because Bobo liked their wine.
Bobo was a wine guy.
Yeah, he was the wine guy, and that called a grupa. That was the end of the bottle of wine, which was pretty strong. But they made all the wine, a lot of grapevines there. And most of the people that lived there went to Germany to work, and where they made the cars. What cars they made in Germany? That expensive one, I can't think of it right now. But anyway, a lot of people went to Germany to work because that's small over there. Yeah. Europe is small. You can get around, and even Yugoslavia, where I was.
Right.
Medjugorje is in Yugoslavia and near Sarajevo. And the war was just ending, or one war over there was just ending too. I remember being on top of the mountain here and bombs go off. And this Green Berets stayed at the end of the street where we were staying in Medjugorje because the war was ending at that time. Communist. It was a communist country. We couldn't leave our tips to them. We left our money under the pillow at night when we left.
Yeah.
We left our tip money.
Yeah.
Because it was communist country. And but I can say it was one of the best experiences I had in my whole life.
I've always heard that when people go over to different countries, my brother's been to a different country before, and you stay there long enough to realize I'm really happy to be in America.
Oh yeah.
With all the freedoms we have and everything.
Yeah.
And then you go on CNN or YouTube, wherever you go, and hear people say, well, I hate America, even though they're living in America. Why don't you just go move somewhere else? Try that for a little bit and then try to come back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can imagine it's a totally different atmosphere to be in a different country.
Oh, I would love to go back to Medjugorje. It's
right.
But I mean, truthfully, I would never. I love the United States, and it's great to go visit there or anywhere. But I always love to come back home.
You've been to Ireland with
Yes.
my grandmother, my aunt,
Yeah,
my uncle. What was that? What was being in Ireland like?
oh, it was great. I loved the drive from north to south. A lot of sheep and the shows we went to, and the people were friendly.
Yeah.
And I would have enjoyed it more if I wouldn't have gotten a bad cold, but I didn't get to enjoy it as much as I wanted to.
Right.
But I was already then 87, so that was pretty old to go on that far on a trip. But it was nice. I can't remember too much about it because they were good to go out and I couldn't go because I was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Catholicism any different between you were a kid and now? Is there and what are some of the big differences?
Big difference. And when we were little and made our first communion, we had to take it by mouth. You never took it by hand. You always put your hands here under a veil at the altar, and you took it by mouth. You were never allowed to touch the host. And that was the one big thing that's really different now. It's all changed. It was hard to get used to. Yeah. But that's the one big thing that changed, and it's changed a lot.
For the better, for the worse?
The basics the same. The 10 Commandments done.
Yeah.
That's it. Follow the 10 Commandments. That's it.
Yeah.
But that's never changed. That's always the same.
But do you think Catholicism has changed for the worst or for the best?
I don't think it's changed worse. I don't think it's any different than I believe as a child, because it was the way I was taught and the way they're taught today. They did change things, but I still go according to when I was a child, like going to church every Sunday and confession, and I still go along with all the rules I was taught as a young child. Now they're taught a little different, I think. I don't know, but I never pay that much attention because I still go the way I was taught as a child. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What was school like when you were in school? What was?
I always tell everybody, going to school and nuns teaching you. A lot of people didn't like the nuns, but boy, you learned by a nun. I remember when I was in 4th grade. And if you had a spelling mistake, everybody had to stand up in the row. You held your hands out. You got a slap on the hand with a ruler for every spelling mistake you made. And boy, honey, I learned how to spell.
Yeah,
I really learned how to spell.
Apparently they hit pretty hard.
Yeah, and today it wouldn't be that way because the parents would object to that.
Yeah.
You know. I think today, this day and age, parents
There's
would
no
kind of
discipline
no. That's what I'm saying. That's the big difference. The discipline's not there. The respect isn't there. And the nuns, you waited your turn to go up and talk to them. You just didn't. But I mean, you were taught. My one daughter, my youngest daughter, she went to 4th grade in Catholic school.
Yeah.
She had all her friends went to public school. I don't know how I let her talk me into it, but I sent her to school to learn, to go to get the First Communion, confirmation, and all that. But she's a very good Catholic today. Very good. She works at the church. She's really a good Catholic. And she's the only one that didn't go all through Catholic high school and grade school. But she said there was such a difference when she changed in 4th grade. She was way above the 4th grade in public school. That was a long time ago. That's when they still had the nuns teaching, and then you had to learn.
Yeah.
And then it's changed because they have lay teachers now. I don't think there's nuns that teach, but she said there was such a difference. She was so far ahead.
I hear that my generation is given everything that we get is given to us by a silver platter. We are spoiled rotten with the things that we get.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I can agree with that statement a whole lot, actually, because I mean, we do have zero discipline. We don't get any discipline for the things that we do. And if you go to school right now, I mean, watching the things that people do in school, because sometimes every once in a while I just sit back and just watch what people do, and then they won't get punished for it. And it's wild to watch, and the stories that I hear. And
Well, why is that they don't get punished? It is because the parents would come up and say something.
That's right.
And that's not right.
And
The parents, they're at school and they should be taught and to respect the teacher and do what the teachers and what they're supposed to do. And then they're not with their parents then, and the parents should not say anything about that. But I think that's one big thing that goes on today.
I mean, let's say a teacher punishes a student. The student is a different race than the teacher. They'll say it's racist.
Yeah.
That's a go-to. I've said this for a long time, that the word racist has lost its meaning. Everything's racist now. You can do anything and it's racist.
Right.
And it's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Everything is racist in some way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's not the way it should be.
No.
That's not the way it should be at all, I don't think. But so as a Catholic, and you're very religious, what do you do to get closer to God every day?
One thing I do, the first thing I do now, since I'm this age, take it in. Thanks you, Vera. I listen to EWTN every morning to Mass.
And for the people who don't know what that is,
what EWTN?
Yeah,
Eternal. It's a Catholic station.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Oh, I'm not saying you have to say the abbreviation. I'm saying what it is.
Yeah.
What the channel is.
Yeah, it's the Catholic. Live Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Live life. Your life Catholic. If you're Catholic, live it. Live it right. And I say the rosary every day.
Yeah.
Every day I don't miss. And maybe it's because of my age, but I have the time now because I worked a long time in my life.
How long did you work?
I worked till I was 88. And I started working as a child, I'd say. You had to be 16 to work, or I don't remember. But I went to the Board of Education to get a permit to go to work early because I loved to work. I used to work at school in the cafeteria.
That's so rare now. People really wanting to work. That's rare.
They don't have the work ethics like we did in our generation. We were workers.
Yeah.
I mean, I even worked at school. Who wants to work in the cafeteria? I would raise my hand and I'd go and put the milk out.
That still goes on.
Huh?
That still goes on.
Yeah, does that
quite a bit?
Does it?
Yeah.
I was wondering if it did. And you work and help out.
Yeah.
And but like I say, I work too with a lot of young people in the retail, and they all do is talk on their phone when they're supposed to be working. And I worked a long time and seen a lot of it. And they always wanted me to work because I worked while I was there.
Yeah.
And it's a shame they don't have the work ethics. And I'm sure there's a lot of great kids that have it, I mean, I hope I can say the majority of young people, I hope they have great work ethics. And I think today, myself, I don't know, I think going, everybody wants to go to college and pay all this money for college and then start at the top. Nobody starts at the top.
Yeah.
You start at the bottom. I know people that in the Catholic Supply, I worked for Catholic Supply. The man used to sweep the floor. Now he owns the place.
There you go.
See, you got to start from the bottom and sort of work your way up.
Yeah.
And I think that's in almost anything. Even if you have a great education, you still got to start and work your way up. And I don't know if there's a lot of people that do that today. I think even being a plumber or electrician or a trades, going to a trade school, I think they're going to be the future. And to learn that, because a lot of these colleges today, well, I don't want to get into that, but a lot of these colleges today, but I think the trade, construction, and I always thought if if a young man doesn't know what he wants to do, try to trade school, try to be an electrician or a plumber or construction. I think it's a great job, and I think they're going to be great jobs in the future.
I agree.
I think that's my opinion.
So here's the big one. Let's
What?
go into politics.
Oh,
Okay. And for people who don't know, Fox News every day.
yeah.
Fox News every day. So
And the one thing right now they're talking about Trump and recession and tariffs, and naturally he's not going to make everybody happy, but give the man a chance. He's only been in 52 days, and as far as the tariffs, he's giving Canada paying, what is it, 50%? I don't know, but they never paid us. All the countries get high tariff. They get paid high tariffs. We never did. We were low, so I would agree to pay the same tariff as other countries did. Or I would agree to that as my country, that if they pay it, I'll pay it. But if I pay it, they got to pay it.
Yeah.
That's what I think about the tariffs.
Not a whole lot, and a lot of people don't like those tariffs.
I know.
A lot of people.
But that's the thing. You got to think about it. We always paid high tariffs, and they paid low. I mean, what's fair is fair.
Right.
They pay amount, I'll pay the amount. If I have to pay this, they have to pay it. And I think he's having a little trouble with that right now, and he's not going to please everybody. That's normal, but I think he's a great president. That's my opinion, and I got a feeling it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to show pretty soon. And with he has a vice president, and he's got a good what do you call them, kickback, or Elon Musk. He's his backup, or his, what would you call him? He's got a vice president, and he's got a I don't know what you call
Speaker
him.
of the House.
No, but Trump's his sidekick.
So yeah. So first question on politics. What's your thoughts on the difference between the Democratic Party now and when you were a child?
Well, I think everybody knows that the Democrats in the 20s, 30s, and 40s were the poor and the middle class people, and I think everybody knows there's a big change. It's just the opposite now. I think the left wing of the Democrats got a hold of the Democrats because there was more of them than there were Republican rich people at that time in the 30s and 40s. So the left got a hold of the Democrats because there was more poor and middle class. I think that's kind of how it happened. And now it's just completely switched. The Republicans are like the Democrats were, and the Democrats have just, I don't know. I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
Because I was a Democrat, and my father ran on the Democrat ticket when I was a child. I've watched politics since I'm 5 years old. And I was always taught, learn what's going on in your country. And it just upsets me. But to think that my dad ran on the Democratic ticket, but at that time they were the poor and the middle class.
Yeah.
And I wonder these days, if they were alive, how they would feel. I'm sure they would be Republicans, like me.
Yeah. Agreed, definitely. Who has been the best president? I think I know the answer. Who's been the best president in your entire lifetime?
Reagan was one.
Reagan?
I think Reagan was a good president.
But I'm talking number one best president of all time.
Oh, wow.
In your lifetime.
I did like Kennedy, and he got shot. But I think my opinion on that's probably different than everybody's, too. I think he was
Hey, people are starting to wake up to the fact that it may have been a government plan.
I would think it was another Democrat because I think the left wing was been working in the government, in our government, a long time. I'm going way back to Roosevelt, to all the way back. They've been working and trying to get where they are, where Biden had us.
Yeah.
And I think finally they're going to do something about it. Trump will do something about it. But I really think that I liked Kennedy. He was the last Democrat I voted for.
Really?
Yes. And I voted for him because I just thought he was a good man.
So
And I think he would have he would didn't get shot, but
yeah. So you're saying that is Kennedy and Trump close to your bests? Is Trump in your like? Would that be in the discussion for the best president of your lifetime?
oh, I think Trump's the best president right now. Right? I mean, we never had a president like him. I don't think we've ever had a president. I think there was another businessman that was president. Was it McKinley? There was another president who was a businessman that became president. And I think just being a businessman helps this country.
Yeah.
Because we need a good businessman.
Yeah, I agree. So we seen a few days ago a big feud in the Oval Office with Zelensky and Trump. Thought it was comical. Zelensky did not expect it at all. Do you think? What do you think? What was your thoughts about that when you were hearing?
I think that's great. He threw him out.
Threw him out? Yeah. You thought was?
Oh, I think it was great. If he didn't, he came over there, and his country wanted him to sign about those, and he came and he wasn't going to do it, and that's why the meeting was. That's why they came in, and I like the fact that it was an open door. Any other president, Trump, I know, is the only president that ever opened door to something like that. You know, like that the public could see it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. But I think he did a great thing. Now he wants to come back. So we'll see what happens. But at least President Trump shows he's not going to take anything like any other president took. They can't push him around. And he called
Joe Biden got pushed around.
Joe Biden got pushed around. You better believe it. He just gave to our money to Iran. Well, I can't get into that because we could talk 24/7.
Yeah,
on all
right,
this.
right. So are you liking the things? Not a whole lot. Well, it was mainly the Democrats. People not liking what Elon Musk is doing, how he's involved, even though they were buying electric cars.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Doge and everything that he's doing for Trump's administration?
I'm all for the Doge. I'm all for him finding out where all our money, tax money, and Social Security money has gone. I'm all for that. I think he's doing a great job, and I know a lot of people don't like him, but they're mostly the Democrats. But I like him very much. He's a great sidekick for the president to have, because the president needs a lot of help. He inherited a big mess.
Yeah.
And I think he needs a lot of help. And I think he's got a good cabinet. And it's just a shame that these Democrats can't go along with what he's doing. But
see, a Democrat response to what you just said from some Democrats I've talked to would say, well, Republicans didn't take it lightly when January 6th happened. So what if a Democrat would say that? What would you say? Because the Democrats are losing their mind. I'll admit they're losing it.
Yeah,
but
because everything they're accusing Trump of doing, they did. As far as I'm concerned, but January 6th wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I'm always thinking back on January 6th, how, yeah, Democrats were going crazy, but that was pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. Whether you were whether you're a Republican, Democrat, whether you were fine with what happened on January 6th, whether you didn't like it, everyone was on the same boat that this is nuts.
Yeah.
Okay? Republicans lost their mind when Joe Biden won because they were told that Joe Biden rigged the election.
Oh, definitely.
And
Oh, I when I hear about these all these dead people that voted,
yeah,
and all these dead people that got my Social Security. I worked till I was 88 years old. I paid a lot in Social Security, and who got my money? Not the government for building roads and highway and our country. It went to all these people that were stealing, and all right off the top,
yeah,
right off the top, all these politicians in there for 40 and 50 years, they all stole right off the top of the money. They all did it, and when I think about that, it just really upsets me.
yeah,
They did. They skimmed off the top of everything, made up things, and then those votes, those million people that died voted for Biden. That's how he got in.
yeah.
It was all mess. It was a mess.
I thought in this election that they were really gonna have illegal immigrants vote. I don't know if they did, but I think Joe Biden screwing up in that debate really screwed up the plan for the Democrats.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you there was a plan and that wasn't a part of it.
No.
Joe Biden totally failing like that. I just don't know why they couldn't have gave him the same drugs that they did in the past election. But I mean, that's just me.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on the past administration, the Biden administration?
Oh, it was positively pathetic. That's all I can say. And how he pardoned all these people, his family that stole our. I can't believe it. These judges, the justice system, and I just can't believe that could happen. And then these Democrats go along with all that. I cannot see it at all. I just another thing that upsets me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I agree. It was a pretty wild time, those 4 years with inflation and China
And
pretty much bossing us around and
yeah,
us
and
having
that's given money for what is it? Oh, given even the Ukraine all that money,
yeah.
and
Which I
given
understand giving them
money, and then Iran,
yeah.
and it's just
I understand giving a country aid, but we gave them too much.
yeah.
Way too much. And I think the number one issue in this entire 4 years of Biden administration was the immigration problem. That was it was either inflation or the immigrant problem. Those were the two big ones.
Yeah.
And no matter what side you're on, you have to admit we let rapists, terrorists, disgusting people into our country
From
illegally.
insane asylums too. They live from all over.
We
It's not
let
right.
that happen. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, right in the middle. That's not right. And that administration allowed that to happen. And this administration, the Trump administration, has already got them a whole lot of them out.
Oh.
And that is a very good thing that has been needing to happen since Biden got in.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was rooting for, like, during the administration, yeah, let's root for Biden. Let's hope he does well. But he didn't. He did a very bad job to the point where he made a fool out of our country.
Oh, definitely. They were all laughing at us.
Yeah.
And they're all using us. They were using us and taking all our money. Now we're in debt. And I don't know how he's going to ever get us completely out of this debt.
We're never going to get out of debt. Never. Out of this.
I don't think. And that's why I like Elon Musk. And that's why I don't know how we will either. I think they've got a big job ahead of them. And I think that they're really doing a good job. Pam Bundy and the guy head of the FBI, I think he'll do a good job. RFK, Robert Kennedy, I think he's got a good cabinet. I don't care.
RFK is the subject of my next question. Do you like all the things RFK is doing, and is there anything that is similar that he is doing that JFK did during his presidency? Do you see the similarities between RFK and JFK?
I really haven't paid that much attention to that yet. I've been listening to so much news, but I haven't really paid much attention to
I haven't talked about RFK much.
No, so I really don't know. I haven't got much to say because I don't know. But
Yeah.
I do like him a lot. I do really like him. I think he'll do a good job. I'll have to pay more attention to what he's all doing.
Last question, and we're going to wrap this up. What was your thoughts on the first 3 months of Trump's presidency?
I think all I can say is he's doing an excellent job. I think there's never been a president that works 24/7 like he does.
Yeah.
Every time you turn around, he's doing something. And I don't know how anybody can criticize him, but give the man a chance. He's had 52 days in presidency, and he's just accomplished so much, even with the border. He's just accomplished so much in such a short time, and he's trying hard. And it's not just him; he's got good help. I think that helps him. He needs a lot of help. This country's in such bad shape; it's pathetic. And I think he's doing a good job, and I got great faith in him. And I'm just looking forward to this year to see how it's going to end and how what he'll get done in a year. I'm
All
really
right.
curious.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this next 4 years. I think it's going to be good. I really appreciate you during this interview. And hopefully you have a good afternoon. And everybody, I hope you subscribe, hit the like button, go ahead and share this because you guys got nothing else to do. I'll talk to you guys later, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the flippity flop.